The inside story on the issues that affect you and your community. This is Local 12 Newsmakers.
I'm very, very interested in what will happen with the casino, as I recently purchased a condominium that is right across the street from where the casino will be built. So I do want to ensure that it really is a true benefit for the neighborhood and the region at large.
I would like to see, some really nice restaurants, some green space, kind of what's going on with the banks right there, but kind of bring that development up north a little bit.
Good morning and welcome to Local 12 Newsmakers. Placing a casino in the center of a city is a tricky proposition. Promoters promise huge tax benefits for the local community and imply spin-off benefits for existing businesses. But the reality of most casinos is that they are destinations that are designed to make sure that patrons never leave once they enter, at least until they've spent all their money. In the end, they become islands to themselves and challenges to their surrounding communities. Rock Ventures, the developer of the Cincinnati casino, promises a different approach architecturally. They want to turn the casino inside out so that many of the functions face the street, making it more user and neighborhood friendly. But that is only one slice of the many issues that people concerned about the urban fabric of downtown Cincinnati care about. In late October, a group called Bridging Broadway invited people to explore the fabric of the surrounding neighborhoods. Their observations and input will help UC Community Design Center generate ideas that will lead to a plan for integrating the casino into the downtown. I am joined this morning by two people leading this effort. Stephen Samuels is the president of Bridging Broadway, which is a volunteer responsibility. In his work life, Stephen is vice president for client experience at Black Book Experience Management Group, an entrepreneurial company that helps local corporations attract and retain integral employees, embedding them in the community. Brian Tiffany is the president of the Over the Rhine Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to Newsmakers.
Thank you.
First off, Bridging Broadway. What is the concept here? What's the origins? What's the mission?
It's like you said, we're committed to making sure that the casino's not an island. So to maximize the positive benefits that it can have on the greater Cincinnati area, and to do that, to connect it economically, physically, with what exists downtown.
Brian, when we think of the site where this is going, Broadway Commons, it can be thought of in different ways. Now, you're with the Over the Rhine Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
Is this going to end up in Over the Rhine? How do we even think about where this place is?
That's a good question. We do see it as about as close to Over the Rhine as you can get. Reading Road being one of the boundaries, really the east boundary. It is directly across the street from Pendleton, which is, we consider that part of Over the Rhine as well.
One of the sub-neighborhoods of Over the Rhine. One of the sub-neighborhoods of Over the Rhine. And so, one of the reasons that I'm involved with Bridging Broadway and with Stephen's help is to make sure that there is that connection between Over the Rhine and the casino. We're very encouraged by the fact that they are designing this to be turned inside out. We've had a lot of interest in the neighborhood, specifically on Main Street, oddly enough, because of the casino coming in. So to answer your question, it's about as close to Over the Rhine that you can get. I want to put up a map that shows sort of the overall district and I hope people can see this somewhat. We got some other maps we're going to go to. But when you see the concentric circles, yes, it really is right there with Over the Rhine, as you were just talking, Brian.
Yes.
But it also is part of what we would call the central business district and downtown. So this really bridges both of those. I mean, not to steal your name, impacts both of those areas, and I think we have to keep that in mind. This isn't just an Over the Rhine issue.
That's right, and Mount Adams will be impacted by this.
Mount Auburn.
Mount Auburn will be impacted by this, but you're right, the central business district will definitely be impacted by this, and part of what Bridging Broadway wants to do is, how do we connect? How do we make sure that whatever this facility ends up looking like, how do the folks at Bridging Broadway ensure that it's connecting to downtown and to Over the Rhine and the other the other areas.
Stephen, are there models for successfully doing this in other big cities where casinos have gone, or are there models that you want to make sure we avoid? What's the experience of other cities?
Unfortunately, in the United States, there are almost no examples of a casino that's in an urban area that's been designed like Rock Gaming wants to do, which is to turn it inside out and connect it. So, you know, New Orleans, the Harrah's there, which I've been to, is oftentimes right now in conversations used as a bit of a model. And I think people's personal experience of it is that it fits. I mean, it sits down there. It's next to the French Quarter, but it doesn't really have any play with the community. It does have some public space, but people don't utilize it unless they're coming in or out of this gaming facility. Europe has some examples. And I just happened to come from Amsterdam like a month ago, for instance, and there's a casino there, and it's in their urban area, and actually its public space has restaurants and retail. They have a chessboard in the middle of this little park next to the casino, and people play, you know, chess with
these
giant pieces.
Yeah,
and so there's
yeah.
reasons for children to be there. If people want to gamble, they can, but they come outside and they eat and they enjoy the space, and I think that's the kind of design that we're looking for.
We've used this term a couple of times, that Rock Ventures wants to turn the casino inside out. What does that mean? Let's make sure we're clear on that. I mean, it's been talked about and written about, but let's make sure we're clear.
Sure. Essentially, what they want to do is design the casino so that there are restaurant and retail locations that really line the outside. It would be along Reading Road and Broadway and Court. That would, a visitor would actually be able to pass through that restaurant or retail location and go into the casino.
Or not.
Or they
go
could just,
into the restaurant
exactly,
without
eat and
having
come
to
back.
pass through
Exactly.
1,000 slot machines.
Okay.
And one of the other the significant things that Rock Gaming has committed to is not building a hotel on the location. And they came in with a concern that, you know, that may dilute the existing hotel space that we have downtown,
Isn't
and it
there
kind of forces it to.
Aren't there limits to that, though? Isn't
There
that
is.
a promise
There's
for 5 years?
5 years, that's right. And then
okay.
we're all going to look at what the vacancy rate is within the hotels
Well, you know,
and
this
make a decision.
turning the casino inside out. I work downtown. There is a lot of vacant space in the central business district. The Banks is opening. That's got a lot of fresh retail, street level space. If this occurs, I mean, what is the probability of this actually really stimulating businesses in either Over the Rhine or the central business district, given the realities, not the dream, but the reality?
I mean, I think that the community has to drive a lot of this. You know, it can be a place that exists up there in this nebulous area that's been basically ignored for the last 20 years and been a parking space. And if no one really looks at it as a potential new destination beyond a gaming facility, so a place where there can be complementary uses, mixed uses, new restaurants, new retail. You know, we're doing this district study, and Charles Graves, the director of planning, has asked that as part of our study, we look for 500 new workforce housing units. So in this potential district, we'll call it, the ability for people who work at the casino, and they're expecting about 2,000 employees, for them to live there. And so then they'll have their particular needs. So now you can talk about dry cleaners and maybe an actual market would be interesting downtown.
How long have we talked about that?
So now now it could be, if you can imagine that, envision that, this really kind of interesting dynamic destination. So now you have that. Now you have the Banks, Fountain Square, Main, and Vine. Then if you start looking at the corridors and how people can travel from one to another, whether it's the streetcar, whether it's by foot, whether it's by car, suddenly our downtown, which you say it's has vacancy, I call it edges.
Okay.
So, you know, right now you can walk from Fountain Square and you want to get to Vine or Main, you know, you walk to about 8th and it gets dark. I mean, and people unfortunately are afraid to walk those extra 4 blocks. So if we really start to think about how to connect these new destinations, our downtown can eliminate those edges. And then, you know, you think about a Chicago and New York or San Francisco where you can walk from one community to the next, and it's always kind of interesting and exciting. That's, I think, the future for downtown Cincinnati.
And Dan, let me also add, just very, very quickly, it's amazing the amount of interest in Over the Rhine since the announcement of the casino has taken place. We have a lot of businesses that I get the impression they've been kind of sitting on the sidelines waiting to see what happens. And now that they see that this is going to be a reality,
So these
they're
are
starting to
businesses.
execute.
These are businesses that aren't already in Over the Rhine.
That's correct.
That would be interested in not necessarily being businesses in that envelope around the casino, but other places in Over the Rhine.
Exactly.
Is there going to be a parking lot, it's no hotel, parking lot, parking garage?
On the site?
On the site?
Yeah, they're building for approximately 4,000 cars, I believe, about 1,000 underground and 3,000 in a deck.
Isn't that, you go down to Lawrenceburg, and I did some work in Lawrenceburg with the city before the casino opened down there, and there was all this, oh boy, it's going to stimulate our downtown. But you go to Lawrenceburg, you drive in before you ever get to the downtown, you park, you go into the casino, and you drive back out, and you never see Lawrenceburg. It could be anywhere. Mm-hmm. Isn't that one of the worries about if you put 4,000 car garage there, people drive in, they go.
It happened with our stadiums.
Yeah.
Did it not? People say that about people just drive down to the games.
And that's why there's no parking garage for the air and off. It was specifically, let's not build a special parking garage so that people park all over town and walk a couple of blocks and then stimulate those street businesses. So
I think
that's
it's
what I worry
it's a good
about.
point. I think it's a good point. I also think that if you look at the demographic of who the casino is really trying to target, it's about a 55-year-old woman, housewife. That's kind of their market. And one of the things that we're also discovering as we kind of go through this journey is they like to make a weekend of it. It's not just to drive in and stay. So in that regard, they're clearly going to be staying in one of the downtown hotels, hopefully. And there obviously is going to have to be some kind of transportation component on how do we get people from downtown,
the center of the hotel
exactly.
district.
And I think that's a lot of what Bridging Broadway would like to have a purview over as well. How are we going to do this, and how can we, as the future comes around, how can we make positive, impactful changes on wayfinding, and how do we drive people back and forth to the two destinations?
One of the, you developed a couple of, we showed that one map. I want to show the map that shows the relationship of the casino site to Over the Rhine. Mm-hmm. And so this shows sort of the north side of the casino map. The casino site is over there on the right, the pinkish area. And then, were these the streets that your people walked that day?
That's exactly right. So the participants in the block walk walked 4 different designated paths that basically, in large part, covered this study area of about a quarter mile around the site. So that's what those 2 paths are designated as. And what they did was they stopped at those 8 points along each of those paths and assessed it for attraction factors. Mm-hmm. So they would stop and look at the street, look at the sidewalks, look to see if there was litter, if there was, what the signage was like, is there vacancy, what's the building conditions, what's the character, how do I feel?
And that's all related to some of the studies that's been done for the subway, the
streetcar.
Streetcar,
Mm-hmm.
thank you for that.
Right.
The streetcar too, looking at those same things and what can be stimulated. There's a similar map for the southern part into the CBD,
Right.
but I'd like to, if we could put up the map where there's all the Post-it notes on it, which is our fourth map. No, let's go to the next one. This is for the CBD. There we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is where people have actually put, this is a photo of when they finish working, right?
That's right. So
With ideas?
yeah, so the 60 or so residents and business owners that participated, they had all these worksheets, and then they came back to Memorial Hall and in groups created very large maps where they assessed everything that they had done and put notes and the red dots and the green dots.
Okay, I'm about to run out of time, and we've got about a minute left here.
Yeah.
If people are intrigued by this,
Yes.
what can they do? We're going to tell them how to find the website. We'll do that in a minute.
Okay.
But can they still get involved?
They can. So that was the first of 3 dialogues that we are doing for the city as part of the district study. The next one's January 22nd.
Okay.
They can go to our website to find out about the details, but that dialogue is about visioning. So the first was about existing conditions. In January, it'll give the community the opportunity to say, okay, now what do we want to see here in terms of...
And can anybody be involved in that? Even
Yes.
if you don't live in over the Rhine or downtown?
Please.
Absolutely.
You just care about what's going to happen here?
Yeah.
Okay. So 60 people the first time, you're looking for even more?
Yes, sir.
Well, okay. If you want to learn more about Bridging Broadway effort, check out the website at www.bridgingbroadway.com or the Facebook page at Bridging Broadway. Thanks to both of you, and as
Thank
this
you.
develops, we'll have you back on.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Dan.
Thanks.
Stay tuned. After the break, we shift our attention from efforts in Over the Rhine and downtown to Price Hill. In the 1890s, one promoter of new neighborhoods opening in Price Hill pointed out that the prevailing westerly winds dumped the filthy air of the downtown onto the snooty east side suburbs. That meant moving to Price Hill was like living, as he put it, in a perpetual health resort. That sort of grandiose claim may ring a bit hollow today, but people in Price Hill think that living in their neighborhood has a lot of advantages that many people miss. Price Hill Will has been working since 2001 to create a systemic change in Price Hill through physical revitalization, community engagement, and economic development. That has meant using asset-based approach to assist stakeholders interested in the community revitalization to identify common goals and then pursue practical programs to put that vision into place. I am joined this morning by Matt Strauss, the Director of Marketing and Neighborhood Promotion for Price Hill Will, which exists to create that sort of systematic change in Price Hill. Matt, welcome to Newsmakers.
Thanks for having me.
Well, one of the things I want to point out here, and we're going to get to it in a few minutes, is there's a brand new website where people can find out a lot more. But let's begin by asking this question. What is it that ultimately Price Hill Will is trying to communicate about Price Hill to people outside the community?
More than anything else is that you don't know as much about us as you think you do. Recently, well, a year ago, we won the Vice Mayor's Challenge. We're the greenest neighborhood in Cincinnati. We have more parks than anybody. We have better views than Mount Adams because we can see east and west on the river. We have affordable houses of all different styles, shapes, just about anything you can think of. We've got it all, and we're close to everything.
A few weeks ago, there was a major article in the Cincinnati Enquirer Sunday edition about one very long street in Price Hill and all of the foreclosure issues, the problems. You were quoted in that article. How do you feel about that kind of report and the impression that leaves with people?
Well, there's no sugarcoating that we got clobbered in the foreclosure crisis. We have been pretty high up on the list of homes in foreclosure for the last several years, in no small part because East and West Price Hill together make the largest neighborhood in Cincinnati. So on sheer volume, yes, we're up there. But over the previous 2 years, the foreclosures have dropped 66% according to statistics we got from Working in Neighborhoods annual study. And we see that as evidence that we're first in, first out on that crisis. When a street gets hit like that, and McPherson Avenue has had that trouble, it takes a while to bring it back, but that is just one street, and being a huge neighborhood, there's a pocket here and a pocket there, and maybe a house here and a house there, but overall, this neighborhood's pretty tough.
Is there a flip side to that, which in terms of opportunity, as I read that article, one of the things that caught my attention was there was a young couple who had bought a house for $20,000. Now, my first house in 1976 cost $20,000, but that's a long time ago. I mean, that seemed like a real opportunity. There were some shots from inside that house that looked like a very nice house.
Right.
I mean, is there also that side of it?
Oh, and we're seeing a lot of that too. More and more people who want the character of an old home, and like I say, any different style, and then they take the inside, do what they want with it, new everything, knock out some walls, give it the open floor plan, a yard, they can walk, the kids can walk to school on the bus line, so there is a lot of opportunity and people are starting to see it, and you don't have to, this is sort of the half suburbs, half urban pioneer thing. You're really close to the urban core, but you're not out in the suburbs where you're removed and you can't walk to anything, so it's a great combination and people are seeing that.
In those older suburbs in Price Hills, and there's actually multiple Price Hills. Anybody who knows Price Hill, it's you've mentioned east, west. There's lower.
Right.
You know, there's lots of sub communities here.
Yes.
How would you describe the retail component? Because in those older neighborhoods, neighborhood business districts were the glue that held people together. Not only physically, but that's just where people came together. How would you describe the condition of those?
Well, it's a walkable business community, and we have got a lot of new stuff going on. Of course, Kroger nearly doubled the size of their store. It's a beautiful store. We've got the Incline Square project, part of, around the Prima Vista restaurant. Well, there's going to be millions of dollars worth of development there. We've got a Price Avenue project going on, a couple of new coffee houses. So it is, it's not all that different from the housing where people are seeing opportunity and saying, yeah, let's try something different here. If you talk to the people who've been around for a while, I remember that shoe shop there and the butcher shop over here, and I don't know too many neighborhoods that they're not saying that, and it starts with there used to be. So it's moving on to the next level, 21st century business district.
Yeah. There is this new website, and I will give people a chance here to see that, and it's called Price Hill Living, and we're going to just sort of search around on this for a while. What's your goal here?
Well, when you get people who are looking to buy in a neighborhood, the first thing they say is, so I Googled it, and we said, all right, well then we should be on top of that. We should be the first thing they see when they Google Price Hill. And so we put together the history, the information on the sub-neighborhoods, Cedar Grove, Incline District, etc. We put together information on the bus lines, on entertainment prospects, on education. A lot of things people don't know. Did you know that we have a university in Price Hill? That we have a number of high schools? A lot of people don't know that we have 2 theater companies, a golf course, 2 water parks, and this gets that information out there. So if people are saying, I don't know if I want to live there or start a business there, let's look into it. This makes it a one-stop shop for them.
Okay. And in terms of Price Hill Will, what are your priorities right now? One is communicating, and this new website is certainly there, but what is it internally that you would say your priorities are over, say, the next year, 2011?
Well, I'm really glad that you had opened by saying that we're an asset base, that we started on something called appreciative inquiry. We asked people, what do you like about the neighborhood, and how would you like to see us enhance that? We said, what's good about the neighborhood, instead of saying, what do you want to see change? And we have had a lot of success with that. We have gotten a great deal of money from a number of sources to buy houses, fix them, and sell them, work on the business district. We've got a lot of great partners. We're a member of the Place Matters Funding Collaborative. So a lot of it is just driving the economic engine to lift all boats in the neighborhood and get people to say, I'm thinking Price Hill.
Pretty hard time to be doing that, though, right?
Well, it has been but everybody across the country is in the same boat on that, so we're going to try to get out ahead of the curve.
Okay. And if you were going to show people, I mean, hopefully they'll go to the website, right, and we got some more things that we could show people from the website, but if you were going to go get people to move from the website to actually come out and visit, where would you take them? Give me a few places you'd take them.
Mount Echo Park. I'd be in trouble if I didn't say Price Hill Chili. It's an icon. If they're there for dinner, Prima Vista.
Actually, if somebody has never eaten at Price Hill Chili, it would be a crime not to go.
It's one of those don't miss things in Cincinnati.
That's right.
Covedale Theater. I'm running. You don't have enough time on this segment.
You have a favorite street?
Do I have a favorite street? If you haven't seen Swear Avenue, it's a one block, and it's pretty special, the houses on there.
What's it off of?
That is between West 8th and St. Lawrence.
Okay. Matt, thank you very much. Thanks for the work you're doing in Price Hill, and congratulations on the new website.
Great, thanks for having me.
Very good. To explore Price Hill Will virtually and prepare to explore it personally, be sure to check out the brand new website, pricehillliving.com. If you're interested in the work of Price Hill Will, check out pricehillwill.org. And thank you for making Newsmakers a part of your Sunday morning. Join us again next week to meet the men and the women working to shape our region for the future. Have a good week.